Council Cabinet. As far as I know, all members of Cabinet are present. Welcome Councillor Beavis as Leader of the Opposition. We have apologies for absence from Councillor Lynn Jeffries and Councillor Jackie Pell. There are no fire exercises this evening, so in the event of the fire alarm going off, we will leave the room by the nearest exit, which is probably the one back there, and meet in the car park. Right, without more ado, I will go on to item 2, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest any member has this evening, please? No? Okay, thank you. It was remiss of me also not to have welcomed Councillors Finkin and Wendy Taylor, who are in the audience as well. Welcome to you. Public question, item 3, minutes of the previous meeting, meeting held on the 10th of July. They have been previously circulated. Are members of the Cabinet happy they are a true record? Agreed. And I sign them accordingly? Agreed. Thank you. Item 4, public question time. There are no registered speakers tonight for that. So we will move on to item 5, housing benefit assurance procurement, and Councillor Bowers, please.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Good evening, members. Housing benefit assurance procurement. As detailed in the report within tonight's agenda, Braintree District Council is responsible for the administration and payment of around £23 million of housing benefit. This activity is undertaken for the Department for Works and Pensions, who provide subsidy to the Council, which effectively covers around 98.5% of this cost. The Council is required to appoint a reporting accountant to perform specific test requirements set out in the DWP's Housing Benefit Assurance Process modules in force for a particular year. On the completion of these, reporting accountants are required to report their findings to the Council and to the DWP. The reasons for the need for this recommended decision is well detailed in the report, so I will not repeat that detail, just to say that this is a decision that Cabinet is required to make. Otherwise, we would be putting at risk the Council for not having the housing benefit assurance arrangements in place that are required by the DWP. Therefore, I'm moving the recommendations as set out in section 2 of the report and listed on page 6 of tonight's agenda. I will read these out as this confirms what's been asked of Cabinet tonight in line with the reasoning set out of the report. And the recommendations are to approve the estimated expenditure to be incurred on a contract for the provision of housing benefit subsidy assurance up to a contract value of £250,000, and to delegate to the member for resource and performance in consultation with the Section 151 officer to enter into a contract for the provision of a reporting accountant up to the total of 5 years commencing from the financial year 23-24. The ability to extend by agreement the work required by the reporting accountant to include any outstanding housing benefit subsidy assurance reviews that relate to financial years prior to 23-24, and to appoint a reporting accountant to undertake the housing benefit subsidy assurance in the event that supplier is not able to be appointed as a result of the joint procurement. Also, to delegate to the Section 151 officer to agree any annual variations to the fees and charges incurred arising due to a change of scope in the work required by the DWP, including where additional testing is required by the reporting accountant. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Bowers. Are there any comments or questions from colleagues? No? You're happy, therefore, to accept the recommendations as set out in paragraph 2 on page 6 of the report? Is that agreed? Thank you. Move on to item 6, new artificial grass pitches in Braintree and Witham. Councillor Gabrielle Spray, please. And this is on pages 10 to 26 of your agenda.
Thank you, Leader. In fact, this is going to be a double act by Councillor Mary Cunningham and myself. So Councillor Cunningham is going to start off and then I will take over.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Mary Cunningham.
Thank you, Chairman. Okay. I'll stay sitting. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I would like to outline the enormous benefit of this proposal to the local and wider sporting community. And this is indeed a very good news story for both Witham and Braintree, but also the wider district. In the proposal, there are 2 artificial pitches in Braintree. One will be at Alec Hunter Academy and the second at Notley High School. And the 2 Witham pitches, one will be at New Rickstones Academy and the second pitch on Braintree Council-owned Witham Sports Ground at Spinks Lane. The particular advantage of these artificial pitches are they are easier to maintain. There are no problems with flooding or quality of the pitch, which you get with traditional grass pitches. Maintenance costs are reduced significantly, as no mowing costs, reseeding, feeding or weeding. We have a shortfall of pitches in the district, and the interesting thing for me and the pleasing thing for me is that, having chaired a scrutiny review into leisure in the district 3 years ago, it was a concern raised by a number of sports groups who had difficulty gaining access to pitches, especially at weekends. So for these groups, this is a real benefit, and it is tackling sporting inequalities, enabling greater opportunities for sports and physical activity in the district. It's well documented and proven that sport is not only beneficial to physical fitness, but also mental well-being. It allows children to get outdoors and participate, and helps address the obesity issue. This increased new facility of pitches sits very well with our Live Well strategy. There is evidence that children learn better on artificial pitches, as they are more encouraged to participate when play is less disrupted by weather conditions. It is also beneficial in terms of increased income generation, as the facility is usable throughout the year in good and bad weather. I'll now hand over to Councillor Mrs Spray.
Thank you, Leader. Thank you, Councillor Cunningham. These pitches are being funded via Section 106 monies. They're contributing to all 4 pitches, and the funding, Section 106 money, is coming from 7 different developments. 5 of these sums are already banked. The other two are due in within the next few months, once the development triggers on those sites have been reached. Total funding of Section 106 money is £1.2 million. The scheme is supported by the Football Foundation. This is a charity funded by the Football Association, the Premier League and Sport England. They are supporting this scheme. They do need to be satisfied that the local schools and community are on board and supportive, and all indications so far is that this is being well received. At least one head teacher has said he's absolutely delighted at the prospect of getting this artificial pitch for his school. The cost of providing the pitches will vary according to the site-specific factors. The investment by the Football Foundation is expected to be in excess of £2 million. So together with the Section 106 money, that's a total investment of over £3 million in our district. The sites will need planning permission. Once the permissions come in, that will follow the usual planning process. So there will be a consultation period for residents and those interested to put forward their views, and then I'm pretty sure that those applications will need to come before the planning committee. There has been a good deal of discussion beforehand about the location of the 4 pitches, but they do need to be allocated to the sites mentioned in order to comply with Section 106 conditions, because those conditions were quite specific on where the pitches needed to be and which schools or academies they need to be attached to. One point to make, members, is that the Spinks Lane ground, because it's owned by BDC, will need a deed of variation, and Bellway, the site developer, will be asked to do this, and we have agreed that BDC will pay the fee for that, which will be around £2,000 to £3,000. But Bellway will manage the deed of variation. Generally speaking, it's agreed that these artificial pitches work well on school sites, largely because the infrastructure is already in place. So there's already car parking there, changing facilities and so on. So there's very little additional infrastructure that needs to be put in by the developer or by the schools or academies. A steering group will be set up to monitor the operation and management of the Spinks Lane ground, in particular with a BDC officer attending those meetings and monitoring the process. This really is a good news story on several levels. We can demonstrate a good spend of Section 106 money. We have been criticised, not, fairly, I think, for the fact that we don't seem to be spending Section 106 money. It's been said that we're holding on to it. But actually, this demonstrates how very often we have to wait for a number of pots of money to come in from different developments before we can fund a project. And sometimes that takes a long time. The two officers in particular concerned with this scheme have spent several years working to bring this together. So, yes, it can take a while to spend Section 106 money, but we're delighted that this one is able to come forward. The Football Foundation have said they are delighted with the scheme. They say that the spend is unprecedented. There is no other project like it, certainly in the eastern region, and they are using Braintree Council as an exemplar of what can be achieved when we work together. So this is a good outcome, and it is a result of housing growth, because it's because of housing developments that the Section 106 money is coming forward. Just finally, the recommendations, there are several of them. They're set out on pages 10 and 11 of the agenda. So I won't read through them, but they are fully supported by Councillor Mary Cunningham and myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Spray. Are there any comments or questions from colleagues? Councillor Bowers-Flint.
Thank you, Luda. I think as far as fitness and everything else that this will create, I think it's an absolutely fantastic thing. For those of some of you may have seen it, some of you may not. I suggest that you have a look online. Last week we launched a Move With Us campaign, which is led by children, and it's for the children to get children moving, which is what it's all about. Today we've had the Live Well stakeholders meeting this morning, and it's all about getting people out, getting them moving and doing things rather than obviously sitting in front of an electronic device, which is no good for your mental health, for fitness or anything. There are worrying trends where we're going regarding obesity and fitness and everything else like that. So from a fitness point of view, I think this is fantastic. It's also fantastic for the district that we've got the Football Foundation supporting such a big scheme and investing so much money in Braintree District. So hopefully we will be able to go forward and a lot of people will be able to benefit from this use. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bowers-Flint. Any other comments or questions? Councillor Ritchie.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to add to Councillor Bowers-Flint's comments, it also supports the aged population as well, those that maybe want to take up sports like walking football or walking cricket. We know that that's got demonstrable benefits for that age group too. So not only are we supporting the grassroots, but we're also kind of supporting those who maybe can't play at such a fast pace as they age, but wish to partake in a sport like that. We know that 3G is a bit more forgiving on the joints because it's got a rubberized surface to it, so it enables people to continue playing a particular sport, even if they've kind of come to the end or think that they're coming to the end of their physical ability. So really good from that perspective. And then just the other point that I think Councillor Spray made really, really well. There is no point in spending small amounts of Section 106 money piecemeal that can have very little relevance over short periods of time. This is an absolute credit to where, and I know that the officers that Councillor Spray was referring to, who had a concept plan around building something like this over a period of time, nurturing it into a project like this and delivering something sustainable and meaningful for Witham and for Braintree, and I fully support it. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Ritchie. Any other comments at all from anyone? No. I'd just like to add my congratulations to the staff who have worked so hard to bring this about. We've been criticised for our housing development programme, and I think this shows some of the benefits that come to the wider community of sensible housing development. And also, as Councillor Spray accepted, we have had criticism about not getting Section 106 out, in her terms, quick enough. But this actually is a massive package of investment, which is also, of course, not just the £1 million from the Section 106, but the £2 million that it is also attracted as well. And to bring that sum of money into a district like Braintree and into two of our towns, Braintree and Witham, I think will be something which our communities will benefit from years to come. And I think it's a really good example of a local authority using the benefits of housing development, not least to house people who need houses, but secondly, the benefit of to the wider community of those new houses. So I'm delighted that this has come before us this evening. If there are no other questions or comments, Councillor Cunningham and Councillor Mary Cunningham and Councillor Spray have moved the recommendations contained in part 2 of the report. Are you happy to accept those recommendations? Is that agreed? Thank you very much. That's unanimous. We move on to item 7, accommodation placements policy, which starts at page 27 on your agenda. And Councillor Lynette Bowers-Flint, please.
Thank you, Leader. The Council has an accommodation duty to certain households when they become homeless. So far as reasonably practical, local housing authorities are expected to secure such accommodation within their own district. Local housing authorities across Essex are experiencing increasing numbers of homeless applications and increasing difficulty in securing both temporary and more settled accommodation locally. Out-of-area placements by Essex LHAs increased by approximately 50% between September 2002 and February 2023. Increasing rents in the private rented sector are also contributing to lower income households struggling to find affordable accommodation locally. London housing authorities have housed many homeless households in other parts of the country, and legal challenges have resulted. One of the recommendations to come out of these legal challenges is that local authorities should have a policy for allocating temporary accommodation to homeless households. The accommodation placements policy sets out the factors which the Council will take into consideration when placing households not just in temporary accommodation, but when discharging its duty via an offer in the private rented sector. Whenever a household is placed in temporary accommodation out of district, we will undertake to move them back where safe to do so as soon as resources allow. In all cases, however, availability of accommodation at an affordable level will determine the Council's ability to provide temporary or settled accommodation in the district. I therefore move the recommendations that are set out in the Appendix A, Chairman, and hope that members do support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bowers-Flint. Any comments or questions? No? In which case, are you happy to accept the recommendation as contained in 2 that our placements policy will be that shown in the accompanying appendix? Is that agreed? Agreed. Thank you. We now move on to item 8, approval of the North Essex Economic Board Economic Strategy. Councillor Ritchie. And you'll find this on page 37 of your agenda.
Okay, colleagues, I am very pleased to recommend to you today that we adopt the new North Essex Economic Board Economic Strategy. The North Essex Economic Board, or NEB, has been going from strength to strength since its creation in 2019, having delivered together over £1.6 million worth of business and skills support to businesses and residents over the COVID period. Working with our partner local authorities of Tendering, Colchester, Chelmsford, Malden, Uttersford and Essex County Councils, we have delivered joint programmes of support to our businesses and residents that have seen over 1,300 businesses supported and over 300 jobs created and safeguarded across the north of Essex. Within Braintree, that has seen over 100 businesses supported and over 40 jobs created or safeguarded. I am pleased to say that the partnership continues to deliver and is well into its first year of a 2-year joint shared prosperity funding programme of business support activity. Having approved its first economic strategy in early 2020, the NEB commissioned a new strategy this year to ensure it is focused on supporting the post-Brexit and post-COVID economy. The draft strategy was approved by the board before summer and has produced a new strategy that will focus the work of the partnership over the coming years. With the ambition of adding value to the work of the partner district and city authorities and working in harmony with the County Council, 4 key themes of focus have been identified. The first is innovative businesses and skilled residents, building on the strengths of strong business community and supporting residents to get the skills they need to support their life chances. Dynamic and connected region, ensuring the right infrastructure in the places to help businesses operate and grow. A green and high growth economy, supporting businesses to take advantage of green technologies and driving net zero growth. And prosperous and inclusive communities, helping our residents and businesses to grow across our diverse urban, rural and coastal communities. The NEEB economic strategy is offered through 3 documents. The first is called Providing a Strategic Narrative that identifies the vision and key themes of the strategy. The second is a high-level delivery plan that sets out our ambition for delivery under each theme, including desired outcomes and timelines. And the third is a detailed evidence base that underpins the work, showing the economy of the north of Essex in all its strengths and opportunities. Work has continued over the summer since the completion of the draft of the strategy to develop an action plan projects against the 4 strategic themes. This NEEB Economic Action Plan will be confirmed at the next meeting of the NEEB Board in November. More will be said in the next paper at this Cabinet meeting regarding the North Essex Council's work, about the commitment we are keen to do regarding core funding of the NEEB for the next financial year. I am pleased to say, however, that the delivery of the NEEB Action Plan will not require any further money from this Council to deliver its 2024 and 2025 actions. The approval of this strategy today will provide a platform for the NEEB Partnership to continue its key role in the Essex economic landscape, as well as supporting North Essex to play its full role as the Lead 2 devolution deal is finalised with Government and the resources and responsibilities of the South East Local Enterprise Partnership are brought back to Essex. Importantly, the themes and the actions have been drafted to complement the work that we are already doing here across the Braintree District through the Economic Growth Strategy and Action Plan we approved in March of this year. I therefore commend to you the 2 recommendations in this report this evening and ask you to continue to support the work of the NEEB and to approve the adoption of the refreshed North Essex Economic Board Economic Strategy and Delivery Plan for the benefit of the Braintree District economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ritchie. Before I open it up, I think Councillor Cunningham wants to say something.
My apologies, Chairman. Can I just declare non-pecuniary interest as the Cabinet Member at Essex County Council who sits on the NEEB Board. I'm listening to the debate, but I won't participate and I won't vote as a Cabinet Member here. Thank you on that.
Thank you, Councillor Cunningham. Right, any comments or questions at all on the report? It was remiss of me, Councillor Mrs Beavis, I think the first time here, don't feel, just join in at any time that you wish to, okay? Right, any other comments or questions at all? If not, are you happy to accept the 2 recommendations that Councillor Ritchie has drawn our attention to in paragraph 2? Is that agreed? Agreed, thank you. That takes us on to item 9 on page 93 of the agenda, headed North Essex Councils, and it leads nicely on from the last item, which was a demonstration of how the North Essex authorities, the 9 districts across North Essex, and including the 8 districts and including the County Council, are working together, and a desire to work even closer together on a number of issues as we move into perhaps quite an exciting area in terms of devolution from central government, of which we will hear more of in the next few weeks. But irrespective of that, there is a desire amongst the North Essex authorities to work collaboratively on a number of issues. At the moment, it's been done a little bit sort of piecemeal, and this is to give it a more formal framework in which to work, somewhat similar to that adopted by the Association of South Essex Councils. We had initial discussions at leader level, informal discussions as to whether we would wish to pursue that. There was a genuine desire from leaders of all authorities, actually of a number of political leaderships, both Conservative, Independent, Lib Dem and Lib Dem Labour coalitions, that we all wished to make best use of our resources, recognising the significant challenges that face local government at all levels. And we asked officers to work up a memorandum of understanding which was circulated to all authorities, all leaders of the authorities, and which was agreed in principle. And we held the first formal meeting at the Plaza in Braintree. I think I'm right in saying probably about 6 weeks ago, at which we elected a chairman who will be Councillor Whitbread from Epping Forest District Council, and the vice chairman, Councillor David King from Colchester. Again, a mix of political leadership, because this is about working collaboratively, irrespective of any political labels that we might have. We'll be drawing up a work programme for this new organisation, which I think, I hope, will actually prove of great benefit to our council taxpayers, not just in Braintree, but across the whole of North Essex. It gives us an opportunity. We are all facing scarcity of resources, and by that I don't just mean financial resources, but also skilled resources in certain areas where there is a lack of suitably qualified people to actually carry out jobs, and where maybe working closer together we can share what resources we've got, and if nothing else, that we don't, if you like, create an artificial market by bidding against each other for the scarce resources that are there. Set out in the report are the sort of details that are there. I should make it clear that the individual sovereignty of each authority remains undiminished. This is on issues whether people, the willing can go ahead, the unwilling on a particular thing will not hold people back. But it's not a question of, at this stage, devolving sovereignty into some new organisation. This is just a way of bringing the North Essex district councils and the county council into a more formal recognition that we will be working together. And in the paper, particularly at item 3.8, we set out what will be our key benefits of what we see as the key benefits of the joint work are set out in that report. So the recommendation that I put to the committee, to the Cabinet tonight, is that we agree that Braintree District Council will work in partnership with our other councils, that we will act as the accountable body for the North Essex councils, that we agree to contribute, as all other councils have been asked to contribute, £20,000 from our Transformation Fund, Transformation Reserve for 2023-24 to enable resources to be put in place to manage the work of the partnership. Too many partnerships get set up without any infrastructure and usually result in nothing coming out of them. We don't wish to see that happen. And the final recommendation is in 24-25, further funding of up to £40,000 to be considered as part of the budget process for 24-25 for the purposes of establishing a team to collectively represent North Essex councils and establish the detailed terms of reference for the NEC and develop a clear work programme. With that, I will move that recommendation. Are there any comments or questions anyone wishes to raise? Councillor Cunningham.
Just to say, Leader, thank you very much for this. I think this is to be welcomed. It's tremendously encouraging. And as you rightly say, it's fitting. It follows the item on the North Essex Economic Board and the work that was started on that, which actually, I think the first meeting of that was held 5 summers ago in 2018. I remember I was here wearing a Braintree District hat, and I think Mr. Collins, Dominic Collins, was here wearing an Essex County Council hat, and that working together provided great help during the COVID period, and as we've heard, is going from strength to strength and really helping paint the picture of what can be achieved through partnership and working. But obviously, this is one component of it. There are other components that are working at the same time. Tomorrow we have a members' meeting of the Essex Procurement Partnership, which includes ourselves, Castle Point, Colchester City Council, Epping Forest District, Essex and tendering, really to move forward how we can work together in partnership in terms of securing better outcomes in the procurement process, which is very, very important to local government at all times, but particularly at times where the pressure on the public purse is great. So I think this is to be supported, to be encouraged, and what I would say is I think we must always be looking for these further opportunities, either formally or indeed informally, working with others. And the great thing about this partnership working, it's not it's councils of all political compositions and none working together, and I think that gives great reassurance, and I hope residents can take a certain amount of confidence in that intelligent approach offered by all local authorities who are willing to work together in this way. Thank you.
Councillor Tom Cunningham, any other comments or questions at all? No? If not, are you happy to accept the recommendations set out in the report? Agreed? Thank you. Now move on to item 10, Risk Management Policy and Strategy and the updated Strategic Risk Register. Councillor Bowers.
Thank you, Chairman. As detailed in tonight's report, the purpose of risk management is to effectively manage threats and leverage opportunities to achieve council objectives. Risk management is not about eliminating risk or being risk adverse. It's about being aware of and managing acceptable risk in the pursuit of the council's agreed objectives. The risk management policy is a formal acknowledgement of the council's commitment to managing risk and communicates why and how risk management is embedded into the council's activities. The risk management strategy provides an overview of the council's risk management framework, acting as a reference to those executing the process. The risk management policy and strategy is a key element in the implementation of good governance arrangements and the council's governance review process. Strategic risks are those risks which have been identified as potentially damaging to the achievement of the council's corporate objectives. This is compared to operational risks, that are those risks which managers and staff are likely to encounter in their day-to-day work situations. The strategy sets out the framework and includes roles and responsibilities, members, officers, audit, etc., risk management process, risk treatment and control, reporting, monitoring and communication, risks associated with partnerships and key considerations. Risk management has always been a transparent process across the council, with the opportunity for all members to input into the process. Just as an overview on roles and responsibilities, Cabinet has overall ownership of the risk management process. Portfolio holders are risk owners for strategic risks impacting on their portfolio area and responsibilities. Governance and Audit Committee provides scrutiny and oversight over the council's risk management arrangements, and individual members contribute to the review and the development of strategic risks. Just to note that we have our annual strategic risk members evening on Wednesday night, when all members will have their opportunity to discuss the 11 main strategic risks as detailed in tonight's agenda. For tonight's meeting, I'm asking Cabinet to approve the 2 recommendations as set out on page 101 of tonight's agenda, which is to approve the revised strict strategic risk management policy and strategy, and to approve the updated strategic risk register. However, I do believe we need to add an extra recommendation tonight just for the time of this meeting, in line with Wednesday's members' evening, which I'll leave that to you, Chairman, to update on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, I think it would be appropriate, given that the members' meeting is on Wednesday, and clearly the timing isn't absolutely right. So I'm going to ask if we can add to the recommendations to approve a delegation to Councillor Bowers to approve any amendments to the risk register which he feels appropriate, arising from member development evening on the 27th of September, so that members can actively take part, assess those risks, whether the right ones, the wrong ones, whether they're at the appropriate level, etc. And we would then leave it to Councillor Bowers to have the delegation to either agree or not those recommendations coming from the members' meeting. So if when we're discussing, if you could bear that in mind as a third recommendation on this paper. Are there any other comments or questions anyone has? Councillor Tom Cunningham, please.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you to Councillor Bowers for bringing that forward. It seems very strange not to have Councillor McKee introducing this report, because this was his sort of set-piece item for several years. But I think it's just worth emphasising the approach of this authority to managing risk and the risk register. This is not the same in every other authority. And I think, without wishing to dwell too much, over the years you've heard dreadful stories of bad decisions with huge consequences in local government right across the country. And I think one of the ways Braintree has never found itself in that situation is the thorough, inclusive, comprehensive approach to its strategic risk register and its strategic risk management, further emphasised by the fact that we're having our annual members' evening on this week. And as Councillor Bowers has moved the opportunity for other members to feedback and raise items that they think should perhaps be given greater or less emphasis on the overall risk register. So I think the way that we do risk management at Braintree is noted by others, but is also to be applauded. And again, hopefully, I think our residents can take greater assurance from the way we approach these things. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Cunningham. Any other comments? Councillor Van Dolken.
Thank you, Chairman. As having gone through 8 of these risk register cycles, I suppose the word is, I think it's. I'd just like to say that I feel very important that especially new members do come to the members' meeting. It is an opportunity for them to be really involved in some decision making, and I hope that we'll have 49 on Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Van Dolken. Any other comments or questions at all? No. Are you happy then to accept the 2 recommendations that are within the paper and the 3rd recommendation tonight, giving delegated power to Councillor Bowers to take into account any recommendations that may come from the members' evening on Wednesday? Are you in agreement with those 3 recommendations? Agreed? Thank you very much. We'll move on then to item 11, which again is Councillor Bowers, and the medium-term financial strategy 23-24 to 26-27. Councillor Bowers, please.
Thank you, Chairman. The projected annual budget shortfall across the period of the MTFS was as follows: 2024-25 1.5 million, 2025-26 0.4 million, and 26-27 0.1 million. A total ongoing shortfall of £2 million per annum by the end of the forecasting period. It is very important to illustrate that the shortfall in resources without any proactive intervention being taken would result in having to draw down on general fund allocated balances of 5.4 million. As we move towards embarking on the new budget process for 24-25, I am pleased to present the budget timetable to Cabinet tonight. As we move through this, the important date for members will be the Corporate Scrutiny Committee meeting on the 22nd of November, where all members will get a chance to discuss the initial budget proposals and the MTFS. Ahead of that, I have been a keen advocate in facilitating a member finance training session, which I encourage all members to attend, and not just new councillors. This will be of great benefit in understanding public sector finance, and the timing of this being just ahead of the Corporate Scrutiny Committee meeting in November was crucial to the planning of this. As always, this timetable is subject to change, and there is the possibility to modify as we work through the budget, and especially once we have news of the local government finance settlement. As well as noting the budget process here tonight, there are a few other recommendations as part of this report which I will just pull out. Business rate pooling. The Council has participated in an Essex business rate pool for many years, which has resulted in a higher amount of income retained for the benefit of investment in the district. As mentioned in the report, gains from this arrangement have been used to part fund, for example, iConstruct, Innovation Centre and the Plaza. The Council continues to forecast payment of a levy on income growth above the government set baseline, and therefore pooling should continue to be of benefit to the authority if the opportunity exists. Participation in a pool is not risk-free, as the normal safety net provisions that apply in the event of the significant reduction in business rate income is determined at the level of the pool rather than individual local authority. However, this risk is mitigated by ensuring that proposed pool participants have a reasonable level of contingency in their business rate forecasts. The Essex pool has also provided a financial safety net for the authorities that participate within the agreed scheme conditions. Decisions on pooling are normally required in a short timescale after government invite authorities wishing to indicate their intentions regarding pooling, and therefore, as in previous years, it is proposed that the delegation is given to the Cabinet Member for Resources and Performance, i.e. myself, in consultation with a Section 151 officer to agree to the Council's participation in a pool if it is beneficial to do so. In regards to the legal costs budget, since the approval of the 23-24 budget, the Council has become involved in a number of legal challenges against the Home Office following their decision to use the Wethersfield site for the provision of asylum accommodation. To date, the Council has incurred costs of £172,000, which relate to the cost of bringing the injunction and appeal proceedings. Since then, the Council has issued judicial review proceedings and final hearings are expected in autumn. In order to deal with these unexpected costs, it is necessary to agree that the budget is increased up to £300,000 to reflect the estimated legal costs incurred by the Council in bringing these challenges, and that such increase will be funded from the General Fund allocated balances. Annual Staff Pay Award. There remains uncertainty over the final cost of the Staff Pay Award due to be implemented from April 2023. The employers' representatives have offered staff covered by the National Joint Council a consolidated payment of either £1,925 or 3.88%, whichever is the higher. Chief officers have already agreed a pay award of 3.5%, and whilst chief executives have been offered the same, this has not been agreed yet. We are seeking an agreement for a recommendation to full council to agree a one-off fireman of 2023-24 of up to £600,000 from Treasury Management investment income to staff pay budgets to reflect the estimated and additional cost of the annual staff pay award. And for all those items, I will ask Cabinet if they can consider, and I'm happy to move the recommendations in Section 2 on page 145 of tonight's agenda. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Bowers. Any comments or questions from anyone? Can I just pose one question? One of the issues which has provoked some controversy is the introduction of charging for green waste, which we think will be an important part of our medium-term financial strategy. I wonder, Councillor Cunningham, are you able to update us on where we are on that at the moment?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, very happy to update that as of this morning, 9,122 households in the Braintree district have signed up to the all-year garden waste collection service, generating at this moment an income in the region of £265,000 for this authority. That is against modelling figures of some 5,722 households signing up. I believe, Chairman, that the early bird discount special, which is available until the end of November, has obviously led to a high interest. If I may just, Chairman, take this opportunity to thank the operational team under Paul Partridge, who are preparing the work to implement this service, but particularly to thank our excellent communications team here at Braintree District Council and our customer services team, all who have been charged with implementing this policy, processing this policy, and dealing with the members of Parliament members of the public, far more important members of the public, on this matter, who have shown interest and responded enthusiastically to this service. I would also like to say particularly, I think, the quality of the communication in our most recent Contact magazine, which always is a very high quality document. I think this year it's been of even more exceptionally high standard. So these are encouraging figures, bearing in mind we are implementing this service charge for the first year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Bowers, do you want to make any comments at all?
Yes, thank you, Chairman, and thank you for your comments, Councillor Cunningham. And though obviously, as it's been discussed in this chamber on many occasions, or a number of occasions, obviously charging for garden waste is not something that we wanted to be looking at, even though many councils do charge for garden waste. But it was inevitable when we look at the MTFS that we have the gap that we have. I know it was discussed at full council, and I invited the Leader of the Opposition whether there was any ideas that the opposition group could come forward that we didn't charge for this, which hasn't been forthcoming as of yet. So it is something that that obviously it is something that we wish we didn't have to do, but it's very encouraging that the numbers and the popularity in regards to the sign-up and being ahead of the first year modelling, which I welcome. And I thank Councillor Cunningham for his comments. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from anyone? Councillor Mrs. Beavis, sorry.
Thank you, Chairman. It's just a quick question, if I may, on the point that was made about Wethersfield and the 300k. I appreciate that some of those legal costs aren't all Wethersfield, but do we have a kind of a running calculator of the fees incurred so far to do with Wethersfield? Great, thank you, Chairman.
I'll ask Kim to answer that as the one who's most closely connected with it.
So I believe it's on our website as part of the Wethersfield update, but running costs at the moment are in the region of about 172,000.
I'd just add, as the county councillor who covers that area and Great Notley, when I go to Wethersfield, I'm told, why aren't we spending more money? And when I go to Great Notley, people are saying, why are you wasting money on it? So you cannot please everyone all the time. Clearly, though, I mean, we are taking action which we think is appropriate to take, but on every occasion, we are weighing up, while we were talking about the risk register early, the implications for the financial situation, because you can get carried away with your enthusiasm and get carried away with financial and legal costs if one's not careful. So we are keeping a very close eye on that. Okay? Any other comments or questions at all? Right, if not, are you happy to accept the recommendations as put forward by Councillor Bowers? Agreed? Thank you. Move on to item 12, Corporate Policy Committee Programme of Works. This is a paper from myself on page 159 of your agenda. Members, you will recall that at this year's AGM we established a new committee, a Corporate Policy Committee, to enable members to be more engaged in the development of policy. And that committee has met informally to discuss how it might move forward, and also to agree a programme of work for this current year. You'll see in the report they've settled on two areas. One, reviewing the development of the corporate strategy, which Cabinet will be aware is something which we will be doing in this current year. And secondly, they wish to look at the household waste and collection policy as their two pieces of work for this year. Although it's come to us as Cabinet, it's come to us really for information only. I'm very keen that this committee of non-executive members should feel free to determine its own work programme and what it feels it's important to look at from the perspective of what we would call backlash members, but are all members of this council. So really on this, there's just a simple recommendation to approve the draft programme of works and also the way in which it will work, and I fully expect their reports will come to this committee in due course. Are you happy to accept the recommendations? Agreed. Thank you very much. We move on to item 13, first quarter performance report. Again, Councillor Bowers, and you'll find this on page 163 of your agenda.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm pleased to bring forward the first quarter performance report for 2023-24. This report sets out the Council's progress towards our corporate priorities as at the end of the first quarter, June 2023. The key achievements in this first quarter: the town centre improvement schemes at Howson and Witham have taken a crucial step forward, appointing a contractor to carry out the works. As part of the Safer Streets programme, the official launch of Dog Watch scheme took place with over 200 visitors and 65 people signing up to become guardians from the local area, able to report any criminal damage of ASB whilst dog walking. As part of the £1 million investment, the council has provided Braintree Area Food Bank with £98,951 to develop its offer to Braintree residents. In the first quarter, 10 council community grants have been awarded to the value of £6,080. A successful business breakfast networking event was held at the Plaza, where speakers from various sectors shared information on grants, business support, cyber security, green accreditations, sustainable transport and health and wellbeing in the workplace. The Council also unveiled its economic strategy at the networking event. 77 affordable homes were delivered in the first quarter. Participation levels at leisure centres continues to rise, with over 177,000 attendees in the first quarter. 79 residents were assisted through our handyman scheme in the first quarter. The housing team prevented 53 cases of homelessness in the first quarter through various interventions. There were 271 new business start-ups across the district in the first quarter. A further 63 businesses contacted the Council for business support. Moving on to financial performance, the financial position for the end of the first quarter is as follows. The review of income and expenditure against budget and forecast for the year indicates a net overall positive variance of 218,000. Staff expenditure is currently projected to be underspent at service level and achieve the corporate efficiency target. However, the latest employees' annual pay increase offered from April 2023 is estimated to cost an additional 568,000 over budget. At this current time, the pay award has not been settled with the trade unions and therefore final cost is still to be determined. Other expenditure is forecast to be £500,000 over budget, and the Council is also accruing legal costs in relation to the Wethersfield Asylum Centre appeals. Offsetting the projected additional staffing cost and other expenditure is an overachievement of income currently forecast to be 1.4 million, which is mainly attributable to Treasury Management investment income. Capital spend to the end of the first quarter was 595,000, mainly incurred on the Disabled Facilities Grant Programme. Capital spend typically increased in later quarters. Currently, there is estimated positive variance against the capital projects of 126,000. The estimated movement on the General Fund allocated balances is a net withdrawal of 547,000. Now, as at the end of June 23, one project is complete, 52 are on track and progressing well, and 3 projects have an amber status. The 3 projects with an amber status are replenishment of the wet and dry changing facilities at Houseley Leisure Centre. This project is amber due to the initial design and costings coming in over budget. The works required are now being reconsidered in line with a revised budget of 55,000. This budget is split 50-50 between BDC and Fusion, and we are waiting for Fusion to commit to match funding. Community Centre in Witham. Following the submission of planning permission, there are queries in relation to the transfer of the freehold which are being looked into. This may impact the overall delivery date of the project. Indicative costs received from the construction consultants are within the allocated budget. Witham Enterprise Units. This project is amber due to a further feasibility study being required based on the recommendations from the planning service on the design and build of the units. 8 performance indicators have achieved or exceeded target. 2 performance indicators have missed their target by less than 5%. Areas of slight underperformance are in the percentage of Stage 1 complaints dealt with in timescale and the collection rates of business rates. 4 performance indicators have missed their target by more than 5%. Areas of underperformance are in relation to the cumulative number of homes granted planning permission, recycling rates, the percentage of DFGs dealt with in a timescale, and the percentage of inquiries resolved at first point of contact in the customer service centre. Full comments are provided in the report for the areas of underperformance, and the relevant portfolio holder should be aware and will be able to provide updates in relation to these questions should they arise. All in all, Chairman, I think that is a very good first quarter for this Council, what we should be proud of, and I'm happy to move the recommendation in the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bowers. Any comments or questions at all? Councillor Lynette Bowers-Flint, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Just under my portfolio heading, I'm very pleased indeed to see that we've already got 77 of affordable homes have already been delivered, and the target for this quarter was 63. So considering the times that we're working under and the restraints that we're working under and the slowdown of building, that's good news. Also pleased to see for the leisure centres that we're up by over 7,000 on the target for the quarter of people using the centres, which again we're steadily increasing since COVID, and it's been a struggle, but we're we're going the right direction. But most importantly, I think we need to just take on board that we have actually prevented 53 families from being homeless. And to me, that is a big success, and staff should be congratulated on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Mrs Beavis, then Councillor Ritchie.
Thank you, Chairman. Just two quick questions, if I may. One, a little bit more broader in terms of the business growth of the district, which of course is excellent. But do we know where the growth is coming from? I'd be quite interested to know, what sits behind those figures. And secondly, on the page 171, continue to facilitate the delivery of the purpose-built medical centre in Sybil Hedingham. And it looks to me as if it's still working its way through the Integrated Care Board. And there's a date of October 2023. I just wonder why that isn't amber or red, actually, because, it's a long way delayed, extremely delayed. And I just wondered, could the Cabinet member, provide us with some sort of achievable date that one could feel comfortable with? Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Bowes, you want to take those questions now? Cheers.
Yeah, in regards to the Sybil Hedingham Health Facility, in regards to the first quarter performance report, it's not behind target yet because it's classed as October 2023. Now, I'm aware of the delays that we have been experiencing, and I, as well as obviously yourself, myself as Cabinet member, I've been pushing for to move this forward as much as possible, as much as is within our remit, which obviously the hold-up sits with sign-off from NHS England. I'm hoping to be able to provide a more positive update very soon, and soon as that's available, I know yourself and obviously Councillor Taylor are very keen to find that update as much as possible. But in regards to the actual status of the report, that is why it's green. But obviously, if that flips over to being beyond that timescale, then that's when the status will change.
There was a first question as well.
In regards to the business growth, I don't know whether Councillor Ritchie would be able to answer that better than me in regards
where the elements of business growth are coming from.
within the district.
Do we know, or can we provide
Provide that as part of the written.
Can we pick up on that, and we'll provide you with the information on that. Well, it'll go to all members so that they get an opportunity to see it. Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Councillor Ritchie.
Thank you. Yeah, just to follow on from what Councillor Lynette Bowes-Flint said, this is a really good first quarter report. In fact, I think it's so good that there's a number of councils that would be happy to have this as their mid-year report. We have delivered a significant amount within the first quarter of this administration. And to pick up selfishly on a couple of points within my portfolio, the work within Housestead Town Centre and Richmond Newland Street and the Town Centre works there, along with the other reports that we've had before us at this evening's Cabinet. It's not all about Braintree. This is about Whittam, Housestead and Braintree, and we will continue to deliver on that vein. Thank you, Leah.
And, of course, our rural areas. Okay, any comments or questions further? Not happy to accept the recommendation? Agreed. Thank you. Takes us to item 14, exclusion of the as it involves the likely disclosure of confidential or exempt information as defined in section 100A whilst we